What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are here to talk about this Lions and Bears game. I'm here with my initial reactions from this game before we get into the film this week. So let's get it started.
Way up, we're going to bite a kneecap off, and we're going to stand up, and then it's going to take 2 more shots to knock us down. And on the way up, we're going to take your other kneecap, and we're going to get up, and then it's going to take 3 shots to get us down. And when we do, we're going to take another hunk out of you. Before long, we're going to be the last one standing.
Welcome, everybody, to another video. Glad you guys are here. And yeah, this was another tough one for us Lions fans. As you guys can see, I put the score on the board. Scoreboard, get it? I put the score on the board. I didn't want to, but the marker was there, and I was like, okay, we haven't done this year, so I'm going to do that. What is wrong with this battery? I just noticed. This battery's jacked up. Sorry. We're here to talk about this Lions-Bears game a little bit. And honestly, I don't want to spend too much time on this. I mean, we saw it. We were live, so I don't think we need to go super deep into this. And I'm just really excited for this film to drop, to get the all 22. And I'm thinking, here's what I'm thinking. Let me know what y'all think. I'm thinking we do a live stream of the all 22 and we just kind of roll through it. Maybe we try that. I cut it out and we just react to it together. We kind of break it down together. I'm thinking that would be pretty fun. That way we could all see it. We're live. It'll probably be a long stream, but I think it would be pretty fun. So let me know what you guys think. I don't know when it drops. Maybe tomorrow, possibly tomorrow or Tuesday. It just kind of depends. If it's out like Monday during the day, that could work before last second dose. If it's out on Tuesday, then that will work as well. So we'll just have to kind of wait and see. But I do want to talk about this game a little bit, kind of the initial reactions, the initial things that I took away from watching this game. I don't know about you guys. This one feels like one of the toughest ways to watch your team lose, because it wasn't like we got out there and we got smacked when we were down by like 30 at half, like the Texans game on Thanksgiving. Yeah, I mean, that was bad. That one hurt too. But at the same time, it was like over. So you're kind of like, oh, okay, we got blown out. And it also wasn't like, hey, we lost on the last play, but we played really well. It was just one play. This one was like, hey, we're moving the ball really well, but we keep shooting ourselves in the foot. This one really hurt because you felt like you really had a shot to win this game, especially after coming off the Ravens game last week. So this one was just tough. I mean, just simply tough overall. And now the Lions dropped to 0-4 on the season with Minnesota coming up next. So I won't keep you guys here super long. We won't talk too much about this, but I do have a couple of notes that I want to at least address. Put this down kind of into 2 categories, positives and negatives, so we'll get into that. But honestly, man, I'm going to have to wait for a lot of things to watch this back, get back into the film, because there's a lot of it I just don't really remember what happened. And, you know, you obviously miss a lot of stuff by the TV broadcast. But I guess let's just do that. Let's just dive into the positives and the negatives. So we'll start with the positives first. Here it is.
Some things we can focus on. 1, we tried hard. And 2, we're still dear friends.
So that was the Lions' positives. Now let's move to the negatives. No, I'm playing, okay? There were some positives in this game. I know it doesn't seem like it, but there was. But in the words of Jared Goff, I think he said this right. Now, we'll talk about it. Jared Goff, I like what he said here, because, you know, early in the season, the first couple games, okay, yeah, we're close. We did these things right. We can build off of this. We're getting close. But then Jared Goff, after today's game, was like, you know, that's great. You know, you did some things well, but we still lost. So it's not good enough. We still lost the game. So none of that really matters. And I think we heard Dan Campbell say the players were frustrated. Jared Goff is like, maybe we need to play frustrated. They've shown you flashes of everything they can really do, like on both sides of the football, but still you lost the game. And that's really all that does matter at the end of the day. I mean, the Ravens one was different because of the way we lost, but a game like this where you constantly shot yourself in the foot, you constantly not take advantage of opportunities, that's a different story. So I guess let's talk about some of the positives. First off, I guess we'll start on the defensive ball. The Lions allowed 1 first down on 3rd down out of 8 attempts. So that's good. The 3rd down defense once again stepped up. Last week it was 1 for 11. So 2 straight weeks of good 3rd down defense. I mean, okay. Negatives, I guess we'll just kind of bounce back and forth here. The Lions' pass rush was not getting after it. And unfortunately, Romeo Okwara, his injury happened early in the game. I didn't see it happen. Dan Campbell says he thinks it's an Achilles, which is going to be pretty darn serious. So we'll see how that goes. I think that's what Iffy had as well. Or no, that was Okuda. Obviously, you take away opportunities to get after the quarterback when you are struggling against the run as well. And the Lions struggled against the run today. I mean, you got to take something away. If you can't stop the run, it's going to be hard to stop the pass. And the Lions had issues with both. They had issues getting after the quarterback when Justin Fields passed it, and they had issues stopping the run. Montgomery gashed us. Even Damian Williams came in and he gave us problems. 8 carries for 55 yards. Our run defense, and it really came right out of the gate. I mean, they came out of the gate and they sort of punched the Lions in the mouth, and a lot of it was their rushing attack. They were gashing us early. Now, I'll have to watch back the film, see what they did and things like that, why maybe we weren't getting some pressure. But either way, the run defense was not great. By the way, where was Derek Barnes? I don't know. Maybe I'm not sure where he was. I saw him at the end come into play. I don't know what was going on there. Was he injured? I have no idea. I missed it. This is a rushing team in Chicago that really wasn't running the football that well. The Rams game, David Montgomery had some success. And by the way, he's hurt, wishing him best. But he had some success in that game, but he had a big run early. But he didn't have much success. He didn't have a ton of success like that outside of it. And then in the last 2 games, he wasn't that great. It wasn't like he was gash team. Now, sure, they did play a team like the Browns. Obviously, they have a really good run defense. But especially considering what the Lions did last week against the Ravens, this was bad. This was bad against the run. And again, part of losing Romeo Core was a big part of that as well. Not having Trey coming in, then losing Romeo. I mean, that's where your money is. Like, when you think about how this team is built, your money is on the outside linebackers. So when you lose your top 2, that's pretty tough. Charles Harris had 1 sack, 2 pressures. Okay, he had the forced fumble. That was great. He was our best pass rusher, but that's pretty much all we had. We had that forced fumble off. We could recover that. It would have been beautiful. We probably wouldn't have scored, though, because we were in the red zone. But either way, Charles Harris, man, I mean, that's pretty much all we had in terms of pass rush in this game. Some of it's lack of opportunities, but this was an offensive line that came into this game with some problems. Now, the Browns obviously made them look worse. Justin Fields locking on to one read early in that game, staring things down, looking for the shot, getting the ball out of his hands quick enough. That looked worse. And when we went through the film, we saw that as the game went on, he got better. And he came into this game, at least from the initial eye test, better. Getting the ball out, the timing routes were much quicker. I don't know if they made any schematic changes, but things were better in that regard. So they did a good job. But man, I was hoping our pass rush would win more than this. So it's going to be very important that we get Trey Flowers back. All right, I'll just say that. It's going to be important that we get this guy back, knowing that Romeo's probably going to be out for a while, unfortunately. Hopefully next week we can get Trey back and him and Charles Harris can hold it down at that spot. But the run defense, the pass rush. And the thing is, man, when you talk about having a questionable secondary, and that's a really good way to put it, a really nice way to put it with the Lions back in, and the amount of zone that we play, zone coverage, and I have no issues with zone coverage. But if you can't get after the quarterback, same thing in man as well. Holes are there. Holes open up as the play goes on. And in this game, man, when you got time like Fields does, you're going to have really big problems, especially when you're in zone coverage, and we saw some of those issues. Did dial up some pressure in certain situations, which was good, and that's probably a big reason why they were 1 for 8 on 3rd down. Like, that's a nice stat to have. That's a really nice stat to hold on for this defense. Look at this secondary, man. I mean, we kind of knew coming into it, Bobby Price had some struggles at cornerback against the Ravens. Didn't mean he gave up a lot of completions, but he got burned a few times. And sometimes they didn't throw his way, sometimes they didn't, it was dropped. But it was like, okay, even coming into this when Bobby Price took over, he's our 3rd cornerback. So you're not expecting to get, your starting cornerback level, but he's our 3rd cornerback. We knew that. The Ravens game was a little bit of a struggle, obviously the last play, but even aside from last play, like the guy was getting burned a little bit, man coverage. And coming into this game, well, those issues showed up, and I felt like Justin Fields attacked him, and he did. Bobby Price gave up, 5 receptions for 150 yards? Justin Fields only had 11 completions. So that's obviously a huge issue. 2020, Bears week 1, right? We start losing all our corners. We're going down Tony McRae's out there. And all of a sudden, the defense that was playing really well against the Bears, they just started getting gashed. And they just attacked McRae over and over and over and over. And he just could not hold up in coverage. And that team didn't get pressure. So those 2 things combined allowed the Bears right back into it, and we got beat, and we blew that huge lead. Well, in this game, it was sort of like that as well. This is not the best quarterback that we're going to play this year. You have Kirk Cousins, and I don't want to say Kirk Cousins is the best quarterback in the league, but Kirk with that run game, that play action with Jefferson, Thielen on the other end, that's an issue. That's a really big issue because it makes it tough to play man coverage. Zone coverage still wasn't great. Amani wasn't great in zone coverage. Like, Bobby Price was not very good, and he didn't play the entire game. I don't know what it was. Someone said he was dealing with the injury. That's very possible. I don't know if it is. Hopefully he gets better. Injuries were all over today. However, I know Jerry Jacobs then came in. I don't think Jacobs gave up a completion, but at the time of the game, they weren't passing it as much. So I'll have to, again, watch it back for that. But Dan Campbell did say that they will be looking possibly for help outside of the team. Maybe that's free agency trades. I was hoping we would swing a Jimmy Collins plus a pick for a corner, but we were unable to do that. So maybe it's something outside, or maybe it is a Jacobs that steps up into that role. Ani, he had the pick. Still wasn't great. Then the safety position, you move back there, and I'm pretty sure Will Harris was benched in the first half. He was brought back in. We did get to see some Daryl Worley in the second half playing safety. I don't know who he came in for. We also got to see some Dean Marlowe in the first half. So the Lions made some changes there. Now let's talk about, some of the positives. Let's get back there. Jamal Williams. I thought Jamal Williams played really well with the amount of opportunities that he had. The guy had 14 carries for 66 yards. That's 4.7 yards a carry. He ran tough. He was not going down off for first contact in this game. He ran hard. He battled. I thought Jamal Williams ran really well. I don't know why we didn't give it to him more in the red zone, the first time around, but Jamal Williams, I thought, ran really hard in this game. Swift only saw 8 carries for 16 yards. I don't know if he was dealing with something. I understand it. Jamal was the hot hand, so I have no issues with Jamal doing what he did offensively and giving Jamal Williams the reps, because he came out and he was playing well early. So they fed the high hand. They went with the hot hand. Swift, I think he had a little bit of struggles from what we saw in comparison to last week against Baltimore. Of course, I'll have to watch it back, but it didn't seem exactly like the same Swifty. I know he had kind of that fumble as well. So there was some good holes. You're talking about a front seven that was healthy. Goldman back. Khalil out there. Quinn out there. I mean, this was a very healthy front seven. That's one of the best in football when that's the case. And for them to get some of the holes that they did, specifically on the right side, that surprised me with guys like Matt Nelson. I thought that was very encouraging from this run game, because obviously it's not all the running back. You have to be able to block. And the Lions found some success doing that. And that's not what many teams have found success doing. So I thought that was huge in this game. Now, where the offensive line didn't play extremely well was pass protection. And the Bears, they got pass rushers. They got Khalil Mack on one side. They got Quinn on the other side. They got a guy named Edwards that will mix in there. They got Travis Gibson who can give you problems. They got problems in the interior. It was kind of a mess in pass pro. Another injury showed up here, Frank Ragnow. I didn't see what happened there either, but Frank Ragnow comes out, so you got your backup center in. I'm not sure if the backup center was the guy that snapped it when Goff was trying to make like a pass protection. It definitely could have been. That would make sense. That's why that happened, the miscommunication, and turned into the goofiest interception I've ever seen in my life. I don't even know if that's an interception or a fumble. I don't know. It could be called a pick maybe. It was just the weirdest thing I've ever seen. And every week we feel like we see some weird, goofy stuff, but overall in pass protection, it just wasn't that great. Penei Sewell from the eye test seemed to struggle at left tackle. I know statistically he gave up 7 pressures, 2 sacks. To think that our best pass rusher had 2 pressures, that tells you there were some issues there. Penei Sewell was not that great in this game. I'm going to be honest, okay? He had the false start on a 3rd and 4, which made it 3rd and 9. Ultimately, we punt on that possession. So, Sewell was just not that great. He also got beat by Quinn, I know, off the left tackle spot because Quinn was getting those reps, which led to the other fumble. Goff needs to hold on to the ball, but I don't even know if he got to a second read there. Now, what I didn't like about this, we're going to talk about this red zone. Let's talk about it. On 3rd down, they went empty. Like, if you know you're going to be aggressive like the Lions were and you're probably going to go for it, I don't know if they would have in that spot, but if you knew you were going to be kind of aggressive like that, the empty thing was very interesting, but the Lions went empty, so you knew you were passing the ball. Goff is not a draw threat. And then Sewell gets beat at left tackle, and it's stripped. I think it was stripped as he was throwing it, so like maybe just another half a second. I don't know where the ball's going, but maybe another half second, maybe we get a touchdown there. Strip sack, we turn the ball over. Now, that was a little bit later. Going back to the first red zone opportunity, it was that jacked up snap. I don't know if that was Frank or the backup center, but that was just the weirdest thing I've seen. You have Goff going up to make pass protection reads, and the unfortunate thing about this is that this was on 1st and goal. You fumbled on 1st and goal. I think it was off the catch or the flag. Either way, it was 1st and goal, and you fumbled on 1st and goal. That's tough, man. You would have tied the game on this possession. Throw that pass to Swift in the end zone, and it's just the defender makes a good play. He tips it up, but that was on 4th and goal. We were unable to have success on the early downs to get it, into the end zone. So on 4th and goal, we're incomplete. And then, like I said, the next time around, they went empty, so you knew they were passing it. I don't know why they went like that. We saw in the second half the adjustment. Anthony Lynn went under center. He did a play action, little rollout, and he hit Khalif Raymond. Leaving both threats out there, I think it makes sense. Unless it's 4th down. 4th down's different because it's like, okay, it's 4th down. That's why it's tough. But this was a team that coming in this game was 7 for 8 in the red zone. They were 1 for 5 today. So it's surprising that they were this bad in the red zone. But I know this is a good defense, but considering how well they moved the football, that was extremely encouraging. To get down in the red zone 5 times against a defense like the Bears is really good. The red zone, I guess I understand it a little bit more. I'm not too angry about that. My thing is always this. I always take points, especially on the road. I'm always taking points, but I'm not even that mad about it. Dan Campbell explained it. He said, I got a lot of trust in my offense. I got the vet quarterback. I got the O-line. So I get that. Like you have your top pick on one side. You have a vet quarterback who's getting paid a lot of money. I understand why you trust your offense in these spots. I get it. I mean, it makes sense, I guess, in my head or on paper, because this is where you have, a lot of your money. So I understand why Lions trust that unit, especially the way they were moving the football to punch it in. I always for taking points, but I'm not even that mad about that. The one that I didn't love, of course, was the last one, the 4th down one. And my thing is this, man, like Campbell said, he would have went back and got into the huddle and, he would have had him huddle up instead of playing that fast-paced offense. And I don't even hate the play call. Like, the play call was fine. Goff had to throw. He missed the throw. You got to complete that. Like, you had it there, and I see the picture, he missed Cephas wide open. Forget the Cephas wide open. He went to his first read. His first read was there. He threw it to his first read. You have to complete that pass. It's as simple as that. Goff said it. I missed him. It's simple. All right, it's not, oh, he missed. No. If Goff goes and he looks to his first read and it's open, why would he, hold onto the football and look to his next read, especially considering how the old line was playing? He throws it to his first read. Makes a ton of sense. You just missed the guy. For whatever reason, he was rolling back. I don't know why. Threw it off his back foot, it looked like, and it's incomplete. But going back to that spot with 4.5 minutes, 2 timeouts, down by 10, right? Your defense just made a great stop. This is always a spot where I'm just extend the game. You're on the road, always extend the game. You can't go away with no points, all right? I understand you want to be aggressive, you trust your offense, but you can't come away with no points and put the game away with 4.5 minutes play. You can't. You basically ice the game with 4.5 minutes by making a decision to go for it. To me, that's just, it can't happen. That's one of those spots where you have to extend the game. First quarter, I get it, but in that spot, as much confidence you may have in your offense, I think you just have to extend the game on the road. Like, to me, it didn't make sense why they went for it on 4th down. Obviously, it didn't work. I don't have an initial play call. The read was there. He just missed the pass. It's simple. It's simple as that. But I just did not like the fact that they went for it on 4th down. I never am with the shortening the game. St. Brown, he showed up today. The guy had 6 receptions for 69 yards. Now, he was the guy kind of went off fingertips. We've had a couple of passes like that this season. I mean, he is a shorter receiver. I get it, but Khalif is shorter too. Khalif had a few drops, but he's still been big. I know he helped my fantasy for this week. That's great. Because shout out to Khalif Raymond. We had a showing. I remember that deep corner pass he had. So there was some St. Brown today, and that was cool. It was cool to see him get involved, especially after all we've been talking about him coming into the year. It was cool to see him get going. Now, I want to talk about this quarterback spot for a second. I want to talk about this guy named Jared Goff. Initial reactions. We'll have to dive into the film to really break this down. My initial eye test told me this. The one thing that I liked is I liked his approach. All right, I felt like Goff was more aggressive in this game coming out. I felt like he was extending plays. He was trying to extend plays, looking to push the ball down the field. There was that aggressiveness to him, I felt, in this game, to push the ball down the field. He came out with that mindset, and I liked that. And look, I mean, the fact is you move the ball down the field every time you had it into the red zone. You just didn't finish. So he didn't finish. He's part of that. You got to finish there. Play calling, run game. I mean, they all go together. You didn't finish. But I like the way that he was attacking. He missed some throws. Missed some key throws. The 4th down one is the biggest one. It's football. It happens. In some of the ones that looks like a missed throw is kind of just a throwaway. So I'm not even mad about missed throws. It was just a crucial one. Big plays in this game. We didn't have big plays like this early in the season. We had like 4 big plays. Khalif. We had the longest, I think, touchdown of the season. Well, aside from the screen. But it was in the air to Khalif Raymond. I mean, he was pushing the ball a little bit. We saw Hodge get involved. He was throwing into tight windows. So I had no issues with that side. I didn't like was, of course, that you missed some passes. And I don't know what it is. I don't know how you're going to fix it. I know the guy's got small hands. It wasn't like it was raining in Chicago, but it clearly shows up. I mean, his small hands lead to an issue. It's easy to knock it out of his hands. If you get a free hit on his hand, he's dropping it. We saw it. He picked it up and started running with it. I like the awareness. But the guy does not have big hands. And we saw it in this game as well when Sewell was beat. As soon as you hit that arm, the ball's coming out. He's got little hands, man, and it showed up. I don't know if the ball was wet, but I think it just showed up that he's got little hands, and it's easy to knock it out of his hands. And that's why we've seen so many fumbles from him in the past. But, of course, O-line plays a part of that as well, man. The O-line was just, they were not good today. And the idea of Sewell, okay, well, he's dominating at left tackle. He wasn't dominating today. And against Ravens, I didn't think he was that great either. So, honestly, where the expectations are at, Taylor Decker to left tackle, Penny Sewell to right tackle, I think is the move. I mean, we considered it because Sewell was playing well really early in the season against like the Niners, but I think now after 2 games, it's like, okay, on the road, I mean, the move has to be pushing him to right tackle. He's not dominating to the point with left tackle where it's like, well, we could try to move Decker. Like, nah. Decker needs to come back to left tackle. When he does, we're going to get a lot of help. And at right tackle, Sewell's got to be the future there. And honestly, give credit to Matt Nelson. I mean, at least from the eye test, he seemed like he held his own on that side, especially much better than Sewell did on the left side. Now, he did get some help. They had the chips, things like that. Hawkinson's blocking, I didn't think that was that great. I mean, at least there was a couple reps that he missed in terms of blocking in this game. He had like 4 receptions, but blocking, I didn't think Hawkinson stood out. You look at the third downs. The Lions were honestly that terrible on third down. First half, they were really good on third downs. They were a lot of third and shorts. But again, it just didn't capitalize in red zone. And for a team that was 7 for 8 to go 1 for 5, it was tough. And again, I'm not even as mad about those field goal attempts and not taking a field goal as I was at the end because I just don't get that one. The other one's, okay, he's aggressive. That's what he's going to do. But I like the way Campbell said it. If I'm going to be aggressive, we got to work on this. And we will work all 3 days in practice if we have to. And you have to. Packers flashed a few times, at least early. I don't know what he did as the game went on. Honestly, I don't really remember seeing him a ton. But at that point, you're just kind of angry. I don't remember any other defensive linemen sticking out. But I think we saw it again today. We talked about this coming into the year. When Goff has a clean pocket, he can find success. And we found ourselves moving the ball consistently against a defense that offenses weren't doing this to, right? They weren't moving the ball like this. Watch the Cleveland game. They weren't moving the ball like that constantly to the red zone. When Goff gets under pressure, I think it's a variety of things, and we might just have to break down this, but I think there's a variety of factors going here. Number one, he's not a guy that's going to give you much in terms of a guy that can escape. He gave you that flash play to Cephas. That was kind of cool where he like juked the guy out, but he's not really going to have that much success escaping. I mean, we saw it when the first guy missed the sack, and then he, it's just so slow to react. He gets tripped again. He is not very good at escaping the pocket. So there's that part of it. Doesn't have the biggest arm. So off his back foot, being able to fire an out route, or hit a Hawkinson or a Fells. And we've seen this throughout the first 4 games this year. When there's pressure in his face, if he needs to throw it to a sideline or to the numbers, he really doesn't have that much arm to do it. So for him, I think it's just very crucial that you protect this guy. Just think about our trips to the red zone, right? Aside from the crazy fumble, aside from that, when we get down into the red zone, we like to run the football in the red zone. And the Lions were 7 for 8. All right, that didn't mean they had a ton of attempts in there, but they were 7 for 8. They were doing pretty well. But they like to run the ball. They scored last week. We saw twice. Both their touchdowns in the red zone were Swift and it was Jamal. But what happened in this game seemed that when you have this full field and the Lions were popping 5 yards to pop with Jamal and everything is open at your disposal, you're on top of the chains, things roll. But when we turn into the red zone this week, and this is just a inference based on what I saw without diving into the film, when they started to stop the run to the point where they got us in a spot where it was like, okay, they have to pass the ball. It's 3rd and goal. It's 4th and goal. You're empty. They know you're throwing it. The defense can dial up pressure. The rushers have to worry about nothing else but getting downhill. And if they're beating your tackles quick, then issues occurred. And when the full field was open, we were fine. When it started to get small and shrink in this game and they stopped the run, so we weren't able to run the football. And we tried. We could go back-to-back runs and we tried to punch it in, but when you can't and they now know you have to pass it, things got rough for this red zone offense. And I think that's what we took away. And I think that's why the play action worked, because you sold the run, which you were doing early in the first half, and it opened up an easy pass for Goff. So I'm very excited, looking forward to the Decker return, and I'm hoping that Sewell going back to right tackle is not like a very big struggle, because if it is, Lions will have to decide what to do there. And I'm hoping, I don't know what's going on with Frank, that Frank's okay and he comes back, because I think when this O-line protects, and they were run blocking, I think when this O-line protects, man, we can move the football. But obviously, when they knew we were passing in the red zone, things like that, things got ugly. And there's so much on this O-line. It makes a lot of sense why the Lions drafted a tackle first in this draft, because they need it. They knew they needed it for Goff. Holmes knew we needed it. And I think it's showing up every week that, yeah, you need this. You have to have it. There's a lot of reasons why, but you got to have a guy. Cornerback position, man, I don't know who's going to start this week. If it's in-house options, I hope it's Jerry Jacobs. I hope Jerry starts outside of Mamani this week if we don't bring in someone else for that spot. And safety, I have no idea. I mean, the Lions may be going more Dean Marlowe, T-Walk. I think maybe Walk got benched in this game as well. Daryl Worley. Adjustments got to be made, though. You got to figure out who your best are, because you kept these guys here for a reason. So let's see who starts. But this is not good enough, and the pressure needs to be better. I hope we get Trey Flowers back soon. I think we'll see that guy that we signed a little bit, probably for depth purposes, active going forward. But this is super unfortunate, man. Injuries hit hard. Frank Ragnow, Romeo Okwara, like, we got smacked with injuries today, and that was just super unfortunate. I want to really go and talk about this too much more, but I think those are kind of just the initial reactions from it. We'll dive into the film. I don't want to say too much because I don't really know all of it without watching it back. My memory does not that great, and plus you can't see everything. But yeah, I mean, this was a tough one, and I know the chat felt it. I know y'all felt it. This hurt. It just hurt because we kept shooting ourselves in the foot, and we've done this for the first 3 weeks. You got to stop doing it. I mean, at some point, and that some of this does go on coaching. Like, penalties were down a little bit from 7 to 4 this week, which I wouldn't really call it a positive, because we still had crucial ones. Like Penny Sewell, again this week. Penny Sewell gets the false start on a 3rd and 4, makes it 3rd and 9. That's not something that we can have. We had the same thing last week. Like, those things can't happen. You can't have those false starts. The snap count. You can see the football. So those false starts are killers. And then even at the end of the game, I know the game was probably over, but on a punt, Woods, who we picked up from the Bears, the fact that he went off sides, which basically ended the game. I'm not saying that we would have came back, but I am saying to end the game on that because you went off sides on a punt. Like, what are you doing? Like, those things, there were still crucial penalties in this game. I think we had to delay a game. There were still crucial penalties in this game. It was down, though, so I'll at least credit that. It went from 7 to 4, so that's That's something. These things are shooting yourselves in the foot. Part of it's being young, but another part of it's, man, like you gotta capitalize on these opportunities. You don't have to be perfect, but every week saying the same thing, that's a problem. We said the same thing for the first 4 weeks this year that we shot ourselves in the foot. That's a problem. And the fact that we keep doing it different ways, yes. The fact that it keeps happening is an issue. It's going to happen, but it is an issue when it keeps happening, and we'll see. But I hope it is better next week. It's just a weird game to break down without the film. So we'll get into it this week. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and I'm out.